Hi everyone, it's Missy. I'm going to be showing you today how to sew your dog a bandana to wear around its collar from a bandana that you can buy at a store. This one that I bought was 99 cents at my local farm and fleet store. Also for this project you're going to need your dog's collar, a pair of scissors, a coordinating thread, and basic sewing supplies, which would be pins, and a hand sewing needle if you're planning on hand sewing the bandana. I'm going to be using a sewing machine. So let's get started. The first thing that you want to do is fold your bandana in half, matching the corners at the end. Next, you want to take your dog's collar and lay the collar so that way one corner is touching the end as well as the other corner. And then you want to cut along the top of the collar. I have already cut my bandana to save time. From this, we are going to sew the two ends together, and then we will be folding this fabric over so that way we'll create a pocket so it will slide in and out of the collar. So let's get started with that. Okay, so I've set up my machine for a straight stitch, and I am doing a 1/4 inch seam to sew the bandana pieces together. I have right sides of my fabric together for this seam. If you can see on the bandana, there's a hemline. The fabric that's folded over should be facing outwards. So if you look on the inside, you just see stitching and it's flat across. That would be the right side of your fabric. Where you have the fabric folded over is the outside of your fabric, or the wrong side. So what I'm going to do is just do a basic straight stitch, and we're going to do this all the way across the two pieces. Of course, I didn't pin my pieces together. I'm just sewing. But if you feel more comfortable pinning, go ahead, that's perfectly fine. Another thing that I like about this project is we don't have to worry about the ends, hemming the ends, because the bandana is already done that for you the way you bought it. So all we have to do is worry about sewing this end together to make a smaller square, and then we can go right into making it for a collar. So this is a really quick project to do. Okay, I'm coming to the end. There we go. And then make sure to clip your threads. And there you have it, your nice seam. So, and like I said, this was the wrong side of our fabric that we sewed together. Now you would want to iron the fabric to get your seam to lay down flat, and then we will be turning it right side out to make the actual pocket. So I'll get this ironed and then I'll show you the next step. Okay, so I've ironed my bandana and I have my collar again to use as my template. And I want to make it so that way I can fold the bandana over, keep it as straight as possible, and still have room to slide the collar in and out, including the buckle. So you can actually measure your buckle across if you have a tape measure, and then determine a 1/4 inch seam allowance for your sewing machine, because we will be sewing this straight across like we did when we sewed the two pieces together. So this is where the pins come in really handy, because you can kind of adjust and pin it together so that way you can test it to see if your collar is actually going to be sliding in and out easily. I measured mine. It's going to be about right there. And like I said, this does not have to be a perfect project. Dogs are very loving. They don't care for perfectionism, but it's also very, very easy for a child to do if they want to make a bandana for their dog. This would be a great project for them to get introduced to sewing. Okay. So I'm just kind of quickly pinning along here. Okay. So as you can see, if I slide the collar through, should fit very well, and it slides out very easily. So I'm going to sew the seam right across, and this is going to be the back of the bandana, and this part will actually be the front when the dog is wearing it. But I'll sew that across, and then we'll take care of these corners when we're done. Okay, so I have sewn this all the way across, 1/4 inch seam allowance, to make my pocket for the collar to slide in and out. And now you're kind of left with these corners. You could actually leave them and have some corners on the end, but what I just like to do is tuck them in to the pocket, because I like that triangular look on the dog. I don't like how people are cutting these off and sewing them, because I want it to look more or less like an actual bandana that the dog is wearing. But all you have to do is just slide in the corners. And now you can tack this in place by either sewing, hand sewing it in a few spots, or you can just leave it like this and just have to shove in the corners or whatever whenever you're sliding the collar in and out. I think I'm going to leave it, but this is what it will look like when it's done. You can also go ahead and embellish if you wish. You can sew on buttons, you can embroider, you can draw fabric paint on it. Just make sure that you're doing stuff that your dog isn't going to choke on, or isn't going to, like with fabric paint you have to worry about them, the acidicness of it and stuff. So I just always leave my bandanas as plain. I have seen people where they like machine embroider or take and embroider a design along the corner, and that's kind of neat too, so if you want to do that. But this is just a really great project because you don't want to choke your dog by tying a bandana around its neck too tight. And when it's on its collar, you can always take it on and off very easily. And this is machine washable, the bandanas are, so if it ever gets dirty and so forth, you can throw it in the washing machine. And if it ever gets tattered, you can always sew up a new one really easily. So I hope you enjoyed my tutorial. I'll have a picture of my dog wearing this bandana, and I hope that you have a wonderful day. Thanks for watching, and make sure to see the description below. I'll have a more detailed materials list on the bottom as well as instructions. So thanks, and bye!